Hi, I'm back, just like every other month, with a new song. This is the first time that I'm gonna be showing a real drum set, not a programmed drum set, believe it or not. This song was written in 2021. I've been pregnant with this song for 4 years, and that's just not me. I'm usually like, I make it, I release it, and moving on to the next one. Here's a little backstory behind it. So when I wrote it, I didn't had any production skills, so to say. Well, not any, but they weren't good enough. I didn't know anything about mixing and shit like that. I decided that it would be a good idea to record an actual drum set for the first time for this. So I went to my local engineer, which was not really fun, to be quite honest. But yeah, it was cheap. It was kind of cool. And then I decided to record the guitars and bass with the band that I was in at the time. It was fine. They all did a really good job and everything. And then I gave it to mixing engineer that worked on some like really big records and stuff. And he also did like a really good job. But the more I was listening to it, I realized like I didn't like the sound of the guitars. I didn't like the way that it was mixed. So I decided to do everything by myself, which was challenging. So yeah. Let's get into it. First thing is the drums. I'm gonna tell you, when I recorded these drums, I was really happy. But when I started mixing it, I realized that these are not good. These are the drums processed. The thing that bothered me the most were the rooms. The kick is so cardboxy and clicky and it just doesn't sound nice. So I pretty much got off all of them. Also overheads. There's too much hi-hat in it. It doesn't sound the way it should be. That's what I had to work with. So I tried to make it nicer with putting some triggers. If you listen to the snare by itself, it's so resonant and it's so ringy, and I almost muted it in the mix. I put triggers on everything. That's how it's done in 2025, I guess. I'm gonna show you my drum bus. First thing is the multi-band compressor. I just prefer having C4 instead of Pro MB on drum bus. A lot of cutting. Cymbals were very harsh here. Smash and grab on every drum bus. Well, it's not doing anything actually. Funny. FG Gray. It's showing that it's not doing something, and this happens often with this plugin, but it's doing a very, very small amount. G Red. Mostly for the kick. Soothe. Tape. Again, Pro Q3. I just hated this. I know it seems extreme, but micro shift. I did this for a little bit of width. Parallel compression. First one. Second one. And then I added this Sound City Studios Big Rock drum room preset because, as I mentioned previously, the drum rooms didn't sound good, so I wanted to make my own. We can move on to the bass. The bass is precision bass. Pro Q3, cutting a lot, and then I was cutting 4K a bit, adding some distressor because it works like a charm on bass. More compression. MW2. This is one of the best VSTs for bass sound. Again, Pro Q3 and L1. There's also sub bass. And both of these go into bass bus, where we have our bass. And of course, sidechain compression and Pro MB. That's just to control a bit of that low end. Those are the bass and the drums. We can take a listen. I think I should have muted the room mics on the drum. We can go to the guitars now. 2 guitars in the center and 1 left and 1 on the right. And these are my lead guitars that are in the intro and on the choruses. This was recorded with the Gibson Les Paul, which I borrowed from my friend. This is like a preamp just to boost the signal a little bit more. Gojira, this preset, haven't touched anything as far as I remember. Then we have Pro Q3 just to cut out these nasty frequencies, and then LA3A. This is the second center guitar. So this one has more fuzz to it, and yeah, I just wanted more of that dirt because of amp sims. Like sometimes they sound too clean, so I wanted a little bit oomph. This was the preset from Archetype Mateus Asato. Then after that there is a fuzz pedal, channel EQ, cutting a lot, but that's what I wanted, and then cutting again here. Another guitar on the left. These two are basically same as this one, just with a little bit more reverb. 4 of them. Bus processing, Pro Q3. I know this seems drastic. I like the way it sounds, so Mag adding some of that high end that I lost with the first EQ. Soothe, not doing much. It's like on 60%. Bus compressor, just to tame it a bit. Track spacer. This is actually sidechain to the vocal bus, but every time a vocal comes in, it ducks it a bit. I'm so leaving and I won't explain why. This time I won't be running in your arms. So it's like on 8%. I wouldn't go higher than that because then it would. So leaving and I won't explain why. This time I won't be running in your arms. Yeah, those were the lead guitars. Then we can go to the rhythm guitars. Oasis Wannabe preset left and right. And then again, this is the same preset that I use for leads, but doesn't matter. These are on the last part of the chorus. Together with the leads on a chorus. Those were written guitars. And then we have like a lot of ambient and like small things that, for example, for intro, verse, break. This acoustic guitar was recorded with an iPhone, and that's why it sounds like so out of tune and shit. But I don't know, I just love the vibe of it and I couldn't replicate it, so I just left it in there. Bridge guitars. Then we have the guitar solo. I forgot to show that actually. I melodined these notes because they sounded so weird to me, and maybe they are still a little bit out of tune, but I don't know. I was following my gut. Pedal board, adding some fuzz and some chorus. This was a preset again. I don't remember. I just picked it randomly. Then EQ, cutting the lows, a reverb. It needed to sound like an 80s solo. And then again, a lot of EQ. That was the guitar solo. There are also acoustic guitars. I think they gave a little bit more presence. They just sounded nicer. We have Soothe, acoustic guitar D-harsh because it was a little bit harsh. Pro Q3, cutting these frequencies again. They are going through a bus, and this is also sidechain to the vocals as I showed previously. We can go to synths now. This was the main pad. If I remember correctly, this was Roland D50 Pure Pad preset. Another synth when the break comes. And there's Atmosphere synth. I think this was some random preset and then I just put Crystallizer on it. And then on the bridge, the same main synth, just sidechained. And before the guitar solo, there's this R. Synth layer 2. The same preset, I just put RC20 on it. So together. On a synth bus, there's again these frequencies and Pro Q3. So let me play the instrumental now. To vocals now. I recorded the main vocal 3 times.
I'm so leaving and I won't explain why. This time I won't be right.
Pro Q3, cutting a lot. I was cutting some 6K and usually I boost the 10K here, but I felt it was like a little bit too harsh. First compressor and then the second compressor, but both of them are doing just like maybe 3 to 5 dB.
Won't explain why. This time I won't be running in your arms.
I'm sending it to short room reverb, H delay on a default preset, and a long reverb, and that's it. Background vocals. There's 5 harmonies. I don't have actually processing on them separately. This is the first time that I did this. I just EQ them to make them sound a little bit distant. But on the bus, I have EQ cutting out here, MB taming these, Valhalla vintage verb doing a bit, and a limiter. So together with the lead vocals.
I'm so leaving and I won't explain why. This time I won't be running in your arms. I'm still breathing after all the shit you did to me.
A little bit of accents.
I could die tonight.
And on the outro, I'm adding 2 more.
All the shit you did to me.
That's it. And then on the outro, I changed it a bit.
So glad I opened my eyes and figured out that you're not what I'll ever.
Yeah, I just used the preset. And then same thing as on a lead vocals, RBox, Pro Q again, de-esser and Valhalla. And then I'm sending it to a lot of room because I wanted it to sound a bit more distant. Everything together.
There's no happy end. I'm so leaving and I won't explain why. This time I won't be running in your arms. I'm still breathing.
No special effects beside the sweep up and the shaker. Yeah. And the last thing, my mastering chain. A friend of mine told me that my file was clipping, which I don't give a fuck about because it sounds good to me. So the first one, gain plugin, -2, sometimes -3, -5, cutting 4K because that's where all the guitar mud comes. This EQ, I don't know, I just love it and I love this setting and that's it. Soothe, this is just for the bass, for the subs, so you can see that it's not doing much. This is for the kicks.
I'm so leaving and I won't explain why.
This is hit or miss, but whenever I put this, it sounds better. I don't know how else to explain it. I just tweak it. This one, if you watch my videos, you know that I put this on every master bus. Pro MB. This looks drastic. I usually have this on like 50% or something. This time it was 90, so I don't care. It sounded good. Ozone, again, cutting 350 to 500 and just boosting a little bit of 9K. Low end focus, tiny bit.
I'm so leaving and I
Exciter not doing much. Imager also doing small amounts. Maximizer. And then again, I don't know why. I think I decided to do this later. EQ after limiter doesn't really make sense, but I just did it anyways. L2 doing 0.7. That's it, guys. This was challenging and this was fun, but my view on releasing music is to take your time and make it right. You should release it at least in a span of a year, you know, because otherwise it doesn't really make sense. Now that it's out, I'm kind of sick of it already, to be quite honest. So yeah, release your stuff. Don't let it sit on a hard drive. That's all I can say. So, one more time.
I'm so leaving and I won't explain why. This time I won't be running in your arms. I'm still breathing after all the shit you did to me.
If you dig the song, you can stream it on Spotify and Apple Music and Amazon and everywhere else. I hope this was helpful. Once again, release your songs. Don't sit on them. And thank you for watching. See you soon on the next song.